Hey, Nation, back with SkyKick, and boy, howdy do we have, if the walls could talk, would they have stories to tell? I mean, it's really cool. Was it 8 years ago? We've known you for quite a while, and arguably since the beginning, and I'm going to say it's about 8 years, right? I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah, Harry, I think you met us before we launched, but we launched 7 years ago. So
yeah,
I think you hunted us down early in this little company called SkyKick you'd heard about, and yeah, but we launched our first migration suites back in 2013. So
yeah,
7 years almost to the day. So it's been
wow.
feels like it's been not any time at all. This industry is still revving up, but it's 7 years.
Well, and it's good to have you back. I still have my blue SkyKick golf shirt with that nice light fabric.
Nice.
It's wonderful on a hot day, so I still have that. So let's give a little context. I mean, we've known each other pretty well, and one of my concerns initially that you've overcome with today's announcement, but I initially was just a little concerned that you were kind of a one-trick pony with the migration, right? That's how I met you. Migration, and you were a specialist.
Yeah.
And you've now blown out to a complete portfolio. And today's announcement is the cloud manager. So who wants to go first, right? Let's go from one-trick pony all the way to cloud manager, and plan A is in effect. You've reached your goal.
Well, we're definitely along our journey that we had architected out. I mean, when Evan and I were at Microsoft, we didn't start off to build a migration company. That was never the goal. Like, we really started off by looking at how do we go help the SMB industry, because we thought that was going to be the most interesting. A lot of companies serving enterprise, and this SMB market's huge. There's like 100 million commercial businesses, nearly 1 billion people work there. It's like 50% of the global economy. It's a big market, but it was just we thought like the cloud was going to really, really benefit the SMB market quite a bit, when it typically been underserved. And when we kind of looked at that, we said, well, gosh, the people that are really making SMB happen are all the managed service providers, the IT service providers that are serving the small business community. And so, so we said, well, like, if you want to really help SMB, you got to help the people that are helping SMB. And so let's go help the managed service provider and the managed service provider community. And that's where we started. And literally we kind of had this vision and this architecture of like how this journey could go. And we just saw massive amounts of labor being thrown at, consulting hours and projects, but like the cloud was going to make things harder. Margins were going to get compressed. Speed of business was going to happen. And, there literally were not enough MSPs on the planet to go move everyone to the cloud and then manage them when they're there. So the grand vision that we had when we started 7-8 years ago, when we first met, was, how do we, help our partners be more successful in the cloud? And we just kind of have followed along that journey. It started with migrations, but that's where the industry started. Like, you just got to get that point of sale, and you got to get your customers online from, I remember you saying SBS, that was the thing.
Yeah.
And so we had to get them off of those SBS servers and into the cloud. And that was just the beginning. And then we kind of just mapped out where the labor was being spent, how much time partners were going to need to do all the migrations, and then what happens when everyone's online, what are the challenges, and how does that evolve? And so migrations was really kind of our stepping stone to first be, introduce yourself to partners, help partners in a very big way. And then,
well, no, it was timely. Yeah, it all made sense at the time.
Yeah.
But everything.
But certainly, like I said, we have big plans, and so Cloud Manager is kind of like, I think, a really nice waypoint, because this is where, now that 20% of customers are in the cloud, there's a lot of services, a lot of support, a lot of administration happening, and we need to do it efficiently. And and reduce the complexity, and then security, obviously, we'll talk about. So all these things were coming, and so we said, let's take our platform and just make sure, if we can automate migration projects, which is super hard to do, how do we go, automate other things? And Cloud Manager is, like our estimates is 500 million hours of IT labor services, and that's only increasing with the proliferation of SaaS and more SMBs coming online. And so we're super excited because we think that Cloud Manager is really going to solve a big pain point for the MSP community, for partners, because there's not a good cloud solution to go automate that work and do that efficiently and help them drive more efficiency in their practice. And so, so that's the high level of why we're so excited, because this is, I think Evan and I kind of predicted this out 7 years ago, and now it's coming to fruition. And it took a long time to build this product because it's extremely powerful and complex on the back end, simple on the front end, but that's why we're so excited.
Always harder than it looks, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So Evan, maybe you can walk me through I'm going to call it the 5 buckets on top of the connector engine. So Command Center, Workbench, Security, Reporting, and Cloud Connect. And I'm assuming in aggregate that makes Cloud Manager. I'm looking at Cloud Manager.
You are absolutely right, Harry, and you're looking at Cloud Manager. And I might. Okay. That's a lot to cover, so I'll go through it. I'll tag team with Todd a little bit and we'll go back and forth, because we're covering a lot of this product, and I'm sure it's the meat of what we're hitting here. I think the first thing, I think before I go through the 5 pillars, Harry, I think that it might be helpful for the audience to know really the problem we set out to solve. And so we can tie, as we go with the 5 pillars and what we've been doing, to very specifically the industry pain point that we saw. Because as you were talking to Todd about migration, that pain point was, migrations were hard, unpredictable, and it needed a level of automation, exactly how IT providers did migrations, not just moving data, but thinking about everything that they did. And as we've been looking at things over the last couple of years, the part that was part of the vision was we thought that cloud would make things more complex and more effort, not easier. And it wouldn't just happen. It would sit on the shoulders of everyone that's listening to this. And the IT service providers were actually going to be are the unsung heroes in the industry. And they were the ones that are going to make cloud happen, right? And as we've gotten the chance to get to know so many partners over the years, we've gotten very intimate in understanding operations, and how help desk works, and how tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 support works, and what's working well in the business and what's not. And I think what drove Cloud Manager and what's driving kind of this complexity that the result of the cloud is the bottleneck in the place of efficiencies where providers are challenged is automation hasn't reached tier 1. The tier 1 help desk and service desk is still struggling with response times on tickets and getting tickets done the first time, escalations, complexity, operational complexity, that's still a blocker. And now you add cloud to that. That's putting pressure on a pressurized system. And so we set out to figure out through technology and platform how we can really solve automation and ultimately within that context and really bring it to the help desk. And we go from there. And so that's the backdrop for Cloud Manager.
Okay.
As we go through, it all leads that. But the reason why these components are needed, it's not a simple problem, because you need many pieces of this to address it. I'm going to go on mute and pass it to Todd for a second because my dog is barking in the COVID time. So I'll let Todd kind of hit Command Center, because I did a long talk there, and I'll pick up Workbench or something.
Okay, go ahead.
You got RMM and PSA in an on-premise world, but for cloud, that's where really that's where our core competency was, and that's where we wanted to focus. And so cloud automation with Cloud Manager to basically command the cloud starts in what we're calling the Command Center. It's kind of a fun name, but it's designed for that tier 1 help desk worker to basically, they can complete, limitless tasks with the click of a button. And the problem we went to solve for was were many, but the thing that we saw was, on average, about 50% of tier 1 help desk tickets were actually not resolved on the first call. And oftentimes it could take 3.5 hops to try to get that thing resolved. And, with cloud, it's all about speed and efficiency. And so how do you complete these tasks easier, faster, with higher quality of service for your customer, so you can be more responsive and do it more efficiently so you make more money? And so what we did with Command Center is, it used to be death from 1,000 logins. So you had all these admin portals of different places you have to go to. Microsoft's got a bunch of admin portals. Other SaaS services, they have their own unique portal. You got cloud, platform, et cetera. And they all have different logins and all different administration and all different interfaces, and they're changing all the time. And you got to log in and click to get to the place you need to get to. And you're doing that oftentimes with passwords that, are being passed around and might be not secure. And, actually on the panel this morning at our conference, I think one of our MSPs said it the best. They said, the most unsecure place of your customer is starting with the MSP. And so what we do with Command Center is single pane of glass, click, done. Tier 1 help desk user can run, any one number of hundreds of out-of-the-box automations with just a couple clicks. And it's all done, through our platform. So there's, so it's seamless. You don't need to know the password. It's token-based authentication. There's auditing, there's tracking, there's reporting, but you can essentially save death from 1,000 clicks of going to all these different admin portals and get it all tracked and managed and completed in one place, just click, done. And so that was really the genesis of appifying what used to be like a bunch of manual labor and putting it all into one single application.
And this is multi-tenant, right? That's going to be interesting to the MSP.
Yeah, exactly. Multi-tenant, multi-anything. Yeah.
Multi-tenant, multi-customer, multi-SaaS, multi-device. Yeah. Well, maybe that's a good point to jump off to Workbench, which is the second one, right? And Workbench is another major aspect of Cloud Manager, and basically the underlying scripting technology we're using for Cloud Manager is PowerShell. And why PowerShell? And
I caught that.
And we're using PowerShell because it is the language of the IT administrator. It's the language of this audience. It's the language of everyone that is doing support and administration. And it's under supported in that regard. And there was an opportunity to kind of make it much more robust and make it very usable, for the cloud. And so what Workbench is really kind of think of as two things. It's a low-code workflow automation engine. In that sense, it's a connected development environment. You can build, you can save, you can manage anything with PowerShell. Anything that's connected to Cloud Manager is you're coding against. So this is any SaaS app that's on there. So whether it's Google Apps, whether it's anything within the Microsoft sphere of Azure or Endpoint Manager or Office 365 or whatever that is, or Box, Dropbox, DocuSign, whatever's there. What you're taking over 7,000 at this point, it's 8,000 commandlets, right? And that we call them building blocks. That would be very easy. And the idea is that each of these building blocks can now be applied and easily built. But then when you run the commands, you can combine them in any way that you want. And when they're run against everything that you have in Cloud Manager and anything that's connected to Workbench. And so that's why it can be run against multi-tenant or multi-customer or multi-SaaS. And so Workbench was really this very powerful way to code up complex workflows. But then what you can do, and this was really the key part, is again, we're really focused on the help desk, is now with the click of a button, you publish it to the command center, and now you've turned PowerShell into an application, right? Just by doing that. And it becomes this no-code solution in the command center. And now anything that the PowerShell person within that company that has all that knowledge and power that ultimately has been very hard to share, right? And repeat, now they can create those workflows and share it with the company, and it's saved, and everyone uses it at the same time again and again and again, and they're seeing how it's being used as you go through. And so that is Workbench. I mean, it's a powerful tool. We've got sample codes in there. You can do things like, we'll give an example. We talk about security, but you can do security assessments. There's all sorts of, really complex things that you can do. You can do simpler things, but ultimately it's trying to make it easier to use PowerShell and then easier to make it applicable through an application for the rest of the organization and the help desk.
All right, yeah, and we went through the PowerShell workshop tour era, I'm going to call it, about 4 or 5 years ago. We did a road show on it, and it's well attended. There was a hunger. Next pillar, security. Let's talk security.
Okay, let's talk security. So I mean, this is actually one of the more exciting pieces of it, even though, some of it's happening behind the scenes, but some of it is revenue generating, and you can actually turn it into a security practice for your customers.
Huh.
Yeah, so that's that. We're getting really good feedback on that. So I would first start and just kind of mention, again, token-based access to any multi-tenant, any of your customers across any SaaS, PaaS, IaaS, or even hybrid environment. So that is, we're seeing it. The MSP is a major vector of a security attack, and so not having send passwords around is just a big thing. And so having it connected via token-based authentication, so you can just seamlessly complete these tasks and you don't have to worry about passwords and all that. That, I think, is a big thing. It's gonna be a lot of value to a lot of MSPs. The second thing that we have is there's auditing and basically monitoring, so you can keep track of who has done what in the organization. So that's an efficiency thing, but it's also a security thing. So you can come in and, a lot of times, I remember a story from a partner about 2 months back when we were showing them Cloud Manager before launch. And they said, this is great because oftentimes I'm not sure who's done the work or who's completed the task. I mean, sure, there's definitely PSA and ticketing systems, but who is actually working on these things? Well, in Cloud Manager, as you run these automation through the application or through PowerShell or any number of ways, it's keeping a log of who's doing what, and that's great for auditing and compliance, and that's like a really big deal. And then the other third thing is like you're starting to bring through basically bringing to life all these new PowerShell commands and through the Workbench, and then point and click through Command Center. There's just a lot of native security features that you can bring forward. So you can run reports across all your tenants, which users don't have multi-factor authentication.
Reporting. Okay.
Right. Yep. So that's a huge value add for customers, and we're starting to see people turning that into almost like either a value add or its own security practice. That's just one example, but to do that, without Cloud Manager, you either got to be a super PowerShell user, and it takes a lot of time because you can only run one at a time. So it could take hours to run that report. With us, it's multi-tenant, so just you click a button and it's done. And then there's just a lot of things like that natively built in to check, MFA, and it's not only for Microsoft, it's for all the SaaS applications that all your customers use. So a lot of stuff around assessment and remediation built in, and there's actually in Command Center, there's a security action tab. So you just click on that and you can run reports, run security assessments against tenants and users, and then go remediate that just with a couple of clicks. So it's very easy to kind of have a more secure practice right within Cloud Manager.
Yep, and reporting's pretty clear. You say visibility across services and customers. Got it. Yep. So why don't we wrap on Cloud Connect, the last pillar? What's the story?
The story of Cloud Connect is pretty cool, which is it's not just the SaaS applications, right? But everyone again in this audience always have to deal with Active Directory, deal with servers, deal with other devices, and oftentimes they're going to be part of your workflows. They're going to be part of what you need to manage as part of those systems. And so what is enabled within Cloud Manager is any cloud connected device can become cloud enabled and be part of Cloud Manager now. And so in any workflow that you do, so let's just say you want to do something in Office 365, but also sync and update with Active Directory. We can drop a client on there, and that is part of what is in the Workbench, and it makes it really easy to do. So Cloud Connect was really working with our partners, understanding how valuable, making sure things work seamlessly with Active Directory, making sure other devices are important for how they manage their customers. And they didn't want to be in a swivel chair, do the cloud thing, and then be over here doing that part manually. It had to all work seamlessly, and that's really what that's all about.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. So what's next? A little time off, a little vacation time. Wait a minute, we can't take vacations and travel. So what's next?
Well, I would say, first of all, obviously Cloud Manager getting out the door was a huge milestone, many years in the making. The technology is is just incredible to be able to run all this activity, UX, PowerShell, whatever, hybrid, against any cloud. That's huge. And so we're going to go into kind of listen mode, and it's a bunch of functionality. We're going to listen to our partners, and we're going to kind of see how they're using it, what they want next. I mean, we obviously got a lot of good feedback over our beta program in the last few months, but this was a significant final push here to really complete this powerful product. And so I would say we're going to be in listening mode. We're going to iterate on small things quickly. There's a lot of little usability things that we're getting feedback on that we want to change, make it a little bit easier, save a click here, save a click there, a bunch of stuff there. There's some major functional areas that some exciting stuff we got planned. It's going to become a playground for MSPs, because like this really is becoming, I think, they're one place to go to for all things cloud management. And so, you can just imagine the possibilities around what you can do more with security, more things on reporting. Of course, we're going to be adding more and more SaaS services all the time, more partnerships. And so that's going to be fantastic. And then, just more of a lot of things that the partners are going to want to make their lives easier, more efficient, more secure. The roadmap is insane, and I'm trying to hold back because we got some exciting stuff planned in the next 3 to 6 months. But there's going to be a lot of stuff we need to do to kind of keep innovating for partners, and that's just on Cloud Manager. Obviously, migration and backup doesn't stop. We launched a whole bunch of things for backup recently around some of these areas around security and reporting and stuff. So the team is very busy.
All right. Well, my head's full. Okay.
Totally.
So good to double click down into Cloud Manager, and congratulations on getting your solution out the door. Again, I realize and recognize it's harder than it looks.
Totally, Harry.
All right. Well, let's talk soon. Thanks, guys.
Harry, thanks so much.
Thanks, Harry.
All right.